Wembley Stadium, a cathedral of sporting glory, reborn under the cold glare of London floodlights. The night sky hung heavy with anticipation, the kind that makes the air electric. Tens of thousands filled the stands, their voices blending into a deep, living hum that rattled through the steel bones of the arena. This wasn't just another fight night, it was Judgment Night. Daniel Dubois, the young lion once scarred by defeat, stood at the edge of redemption. Across from him, Jarrell Big Baby Miller, the mouth from Brooklyn, larger than life, fearless in talk and frame alike. He had come to England not just to fight, but to humiliate, to prove that the so-called dynamite was nothing more than a firecracker. But inside Dubois, something had changed, a quiet, dangerous calm. He wasn't the wide-eyed prospect anymore. He'd walked through fire, through losses, through doubt. He'd rebuilt himself piece by piece, scar by scar. As the national anthems faded and the crowd's chants rose to a fever pitch, both men stared across the ring. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Dubois' jaw was tight, his eyes locked like a predator measuring distance. Miller grinned, shaking his head, yelling across the ring, "I'm gonna walk you down, boy." Dubois didn't flinch. The bell rang. The sound cut through the noise like a blade. Two heavyweights, one destiny. They stepped forward, and the silence before impact was the kind only true violence can break. From the opening seconds, Dubois moved with purpose. His jab was piston sharp, snapping through the air, forcing Miller to reset. The rhythm was different tonight. No rush, no panic. Dubois was reading, dissecting. Each step forward was measured, each punch purposeful. Miller, true to his word, tried to bulldoze his way inside. His gloves high, his chin tucked, his mouth running non-stop. "You can't hurt me," he barked after eating a stiff right hand. But the thud told another story. Dubois' shots were landing clean, thumping into flesh, echoing through the arena like drumbeats of war. By the middle of the round, Miller's pressure was constant but ineffective. Dubois slid to the side, firing uppercuts through the guard. The crowd felt it. This wasn't the same kid who once hesitated under fire. This was a sharper, colder version. Each time Miller tried to smother, Dubois created space with small pivots, pushing him back with sheer force. The power was building. You could feel it in the air. In the closing seconds, Dubois landed a jab, right hand, left hook combination that rocked Miller's head like a battering ram. Miller laughed, but the blood trickling from his lip betrayed him. The bell sounded, and Dubois turned to his corner, expressionless. For him, it wasn't surprise, it was confirmation. Tonight, he wasn't here to survive. He was here to destroy. Round 2 began with Miller trying to bully his way back into control. He used his 300-pound frame to lean, to smother, to wear Dubois down. It was his signature tactic, drown the opponent in pressure. But Dubois refused to be swallowed. He stepped back, reset, fired combinations. The jab stung, the right hand punished. Each impact echoed louder than the last. Miller smiled through it. But every grin was shorter, more forced. The crowd, sensing the tide turning, began chanting, "Dubois, Dubois." Halfway through the round, Dubois found a rhythm. Jab, jab, right uppercut. Then another. Miller's head snapped back, and suddenly, the swagger was gone. He stumbled, caught himself, then tried to respond, swinging wide. Dubois slipped under and dug a left hook to the body. Miller grunted, his legs shifting under the weight of pain. The commentators' voices cracked with excitement. "Dubois is breaking him down," one shouted. Miller clinched, breathing hard now, trying to buy seconds. When they broke, Dubois went right back to work, disciplined, merciless. He wasn't chasing chaos, he was controlling it. When the bell rang, Miller trudged back to his stool, shaking his head. The mask of arrogance was cracking. Dubois sat quietly in his corner, gloves resting on his knees, eyes cold. He could sense it. The storm was his now. Round 3 unfolded like a man writing his own redemption story. Dubois' jabs split through the air with surgical precision. Miller's defense started to erode, his movements sluggish, his counters sloppy. Dubois' shots landed with thudding finality. Body, head, body again. Miller's corner screamed for more movement, but his legs wouldn't answer. The crowd could smell blood. Dubois pressed forward, the predator fully awake. Then, midway through the round, it happened. A clean right hand from Dubois detonated on Miller's jaw. The sound was sickening. Miller's knees dipped, and he stumbled backward. Dubois pounced, hammering home hooks to the head. The referee stepped close, eyes wide, but Miller threw a desperate uppercut in return, trying to show he was still there. The two giants exchanged in the corner, wild, vicious, primal. Sweat flew like rain under the lights. Then, just before the bell, Dubois unleashed another crushing right cross that snapped Miller's head back and sent him staggering into the ropes. The crowd erupted. Miller barely made it back to his corner, his chest heaving, his face swelling. Dubois stood tall, silent again. There was no showboating. This was clinical, ruthless dismantling. Round 4 opened, and it was clear Miller's time was running out. His eyes were puffed, his breathing shallow. Dubois, meanwhile, looked like he'd just begun to warm up. He stalked forward with composure, his jab still slicing through Miller's guard. Every punch now carried bad intentions. Miller tried to tie him up, leaning heavy, whispering taunts, but Dubois didn't bite. He shoved him off and went back to business. Jab, right hand, uppercut. Each one cleaner, sharper, meaner. Then came the moment. Dubois feinted low, drew Miller's guard down, and unleashed a monstrous right hand over the top. It landed flush, a perfect connection. Miller's body stiffened before collapsing to the canvas. The crowd exploded, roaring like thunder. The referee began to count, but everyone knew it was over. Miller blinked, tried to rise, but his legs betrayed him. 7, 8. The ref waved it off. It was done. Dubois had done it. Pure, decisive destruction. The arena was chaos. Flashes, screams, pure awe. Dubois raised his arms, expression unreadable. His team rushed in, embracing him, shouting, crying, cheering. On the other side, Miller sat against the ropes, his chest heaving, his pride shattered, but his courage intact. Dubois walked over, extended a glove, and Miller nodded. Mutual respect between warriors. The fans, still buzzing, began chanting his name again. Dubois, Dubois. It rolled through Wembley like thunder. Camera zoomed in on his face, calm, collected. The face of a man who just exorcised every ghost that once haunted him. As the lights dimmed and the noise softened, Dubois stood in the center of the ring, draped in the Union Jack. The microphone found him. His voice was steady, humble. "I told everyone," he said. "I'm back." And the crowd roared in agreement. This wasn't just a win. It was a statement, a declaration that Daniel Dubois had reclaimed his name. The highlights played on every screen, slow-motion shots of the knockout, sweat and light scattering in golden arcs, Miller crumpling as Wembley roared, the soundtrack of redemption. For Dubois, this night wasn't about belts or rankings. It was about proving something deeper, to himself, to those who doubted, to those who walked away. In the cold night air outside Wembley, the world was reminded that power without discipline is dangerous, but power with purpose is unstoppable. That night, Daniel Dubois didn't just win a fight, he became the fighter he was always meant to be. The roar of Wembley still echoes because dynamite has exploded.